Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior. Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
You're busy. You expect to say no sometimes. But what you didn't expect was a chance to say yes to a college degree while keeping your life. Indiana Tech is now offering Chicago area students undergraduate and graduate degree opportunities taught online by experienced faculty who care. Learn more at one of the new Indiana Tech enrollment centers in Naperville or Wilmette.
I can turn this in early? Sure, whenever you're ready.
Embrace the unexpected at Indiana Tech.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that there aren't very many energy programs out there. When I researched all of the various programs recently, there are really only 2 or 3 accredited engineering programs.
I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada originally. I came out here to Indiana Tech to actually go for the energy engineering program because of its uniqueness and its ability to get hands-on with the materials I'm going to be using in the future.
Well, a few of the things I think that sets Indiana Tech apart is, number one, you have very small classes. You have very close relationships with your professors. When you have a class of 10 people, it's much easier to get to know the professor and get in contact with him than if you have a class of 30, 40, or 50. You're going to have the same professors for the majority of your classes. You're going to have the same classmates for the majority of your classes.
The more practical applications come in all the subsequent energy engineering classes. He transfers in a class that right after they're leaving the classroom, and the board is filled with calculus. So in order to understand a lot of these topics, they're going to need to understand the calculus there. Calculus is the study of the rate of change, how fast things change. And depending upon whether it's energy engineering, industrial engineering, or whatever, they're going to need to use that and apply that.
Professor Romary, he stands out to me the most right now because when I first got here, I had to take calculus, Calc 1, Calc 2. And he's one of the professors that teaches it. And he just really was a very kind and helpful guy, and he did whatever he could to help us out. He was very funny, always had a way of creatively teaching calculus to us that not a whole lot of people can do. And I think that and how he did it is going to be something that's going to stick for me for a very long time.
The field work that Indiana Tech can provide here is, for example, we have a 10 kilowatt windmill that the students can work with. We have a geothermal system for a couple of the buildings, for Utangsu and for Zollner, that uses geothermal principles to heat and cool the buildings in the summer and the winter.
The PV array system, training system that we have down here in the basement allows us to wire up the panels we have down in the basement to set it up as a off-the-grid system or a battery bank system, which helps us because we can see every component of the system actually intertwining and how they work together, which is something that may not be easily visible when you're on the job site in a career. So definitely my internship at SuperValue Incorporated was a very, very beneficial program for me to be in. It was more based on the process and logistical side of engineering of my degree, not necessarily the design aspect. It helped me really learn how the most efficient way to do a task and some of the boundaries that come with trying to make things more efficient.
One of the things that we've been very fortunate here at Indiana Tech is that we've had a grant through AEP to help subsidize our students in taking some of the various trips in spring break. Over the last 4 years, I have taken, along with a couple of other chaperones, I've taken almost a couple of dozen students to a trip to Germany and Switzerland that focused on renewable energy. We've gone to Iceland last year, focusing on geothermal energy, and we just recently returned from a trip to Costa Rica.
Just last year, I went to Iceland with a couple of our peers, not even just energy engineers, but a couple of other engineering majors went along with us. And for me, that was the highlight of my college time. I mean, we learned a lot about like geothermal systems and how they converted to a country of basically like ran just by geothermal. But it wasn't just learning about that, it was also learning about their culture as well, you know, and the past and the history and where they plan to go in their future. And all those things combined, I think, really kind of defines my experience here in Indiana Tech.
You can be the smartest engineer in the world, but if you cannot talk to or work with other engineers and non-engineers, it's very hard to get anything done. I try to teach my students that while you may not like writing, it's going to be a part of the job. You have to communicate. If you're doing experiments or testing hardware in the lab, you need to write it up so that other people know what you did, and the customer may want to know what are the results of that test.
Something I would remember most about the faculty would be just the one-on-one aspect of it and how open they are to hearing your problems and concerns and willing to assist you. Indiana Tech, with the class sizes being so small, you really get that one-on-one talking, everyday type relationship with your advisors and your professors. And having that is key to success, I feel, because being able to communicate with them and actually get your problems and questions across is going to help clarify things for you while you're in classes.
Good evening, everyone. We are ready for volleyball here at the Schaefer Center as it's Indiana Tech taking on Siena Heights in an all-important WHAC matchup. Joe Northern, Mason Vogelweed, delighted to have you with us here on an all-important matchup for these two teams. For Siena Heights, it will be their final visit here to the Schaefer Center for volleyball, as the program will be ceasing, the school will be ceasing operations in 2026. But tonight, you don't worry about the future, you worry about right here, right now, as we go to the table for the PA announcements and the national anthem.
Core values of the NAIA, including respect, responsibility, integrity, sportsmanship, and servant leadership. Please do your part by showing respect to every spectator, student, athlete, coach, and official in today's contest. Thank you. We now ask that you please rise, gentlemen, remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
the sweet voice of Mr. Parcell gracing the Schaefer Center here. A Fort Wayne fixture, not only here at the Schaefer Center, but also for St. Cap games and many other events as we're getting just about ready for an all-important WHAC matchup between Siena Heights and Indiana Tech. Tech comes into this one 7-9 on the, or we should say Siena Heights comes into this one 7-9 on the season, and a history again between these two teams that has really been back and forth over the past 3 to 4 seasons, where Siena Heights has had a little bit of the advantage, winning 3 out of the last 5. Indiana Tech, however, they have won the home match in 2024 and then won the neutral site game in the WHAC tournament last season, but fell 1-3 in Adrian on October 30th. And take a look at 2023 as well. It was all Siena Heights on top of that to make it that 3-2 record. Then at the 2022 season, 1 win for Tech, but 2 wins for Siena Heights. So the Saints have certainly had the number for this Indiana Tech team, but can the Warriors at least find a way to right the ship just a little bit? Again, they're coming off kind of a split weekend as it stands, with a win over UM Dearborn, a loss to Madonna 1-3, and the win over University of Puerto Rico Rio Piedras on Saturday afternoon. So we'll have to see how this team can counteract, and a big swing across on board for Siena Heights. And number 20 in Ella Swoosh, the North Branch, Michigan defensive specialist, as we're just getting underway. 1-0 the advantage. This one swung across. Back in the hands of Tech. Now another swing. This one dug up opposite side from Maya Crone. Tipped over. Back again into Tech territory. Another swing down and in. Jacqueline all the way, answering the call up front to make it 1-1. So again, coming into this one, Tech comes in at 10-9 in the regular season. Siena Heights coming in at 7-9. Siena Heights on a 2-game losing skid. Tech going 2-1 in their last 3, and a big block up front from Hannah Tyke. And now back to serve. You got number 5, Eline Wood, Fort Wayne native. Swing across again, opposite side. Push on the way, coming from the hands of Emmeline Wood. Now again up front. Swung on, blocked, tipped, and got it. And the push in time coming in from number 6, and Bianca Hobson to get it on the board. So 2-2 our score. So both teams again just trading points to start here in this first. This one swung across. Back again to Tech territory, and able to get the deflection off the tip it in. As it's number 19, the current attack leader in Lauren Snyder coming into tonight's match. 213 kills coming into tonight's game. Meanwhile, for Siena Heights, they're led by Divine Eisenhower with 184, 250 assists on the board for Mallory Johnson, 160 digs for Ella Swoosh, and Katie Morse with 40. We'll tell you about Tech's in just a second, as this one swung across and in time for number 8 in Eisenhower, the senior outside hitter from Bellevue, Ohio. Meanwhile, Tech leaders as it comes into this one. Again, we mentioned Lauren Snyder leading the way, 213 kills, but assists, Kristen Matlick has been the resource, 533 assists here in this 2025 season. Elsie McCutcheon, 291 digs. Hannah Tyke leading the way in blocks at 61, but not too far to get to on the swing. And the lead now to a 1-point advantage for the Saints. So again, it's just trying to find that quick momentum however you can, as it's been a tale of trading points. And inside and in for Siena Heights once more. This one off the hands of Courtney Johnson, the freshman setter. And it's 5-3 Saints, and they're on a quick 3-0 run. This one lopped across again. Big swing coming from the hands of Pasca. And able to get the tip off in time. As number 8, Divine Eisenhower, gets it back on the board. And Siena Heights rattling off 4 consecutive points on the board to make it a 6-3 affair. Brought across again from Johnson. Now another swing. Out of play. 5 in a row on the board for the Saints. Which very well might be making their last trip to the 260 as the school will be shutting down at the conclusion of the 25-26 season. This one lobbed over. Chance again over for Wood. Now another high swing tip. Back into the hands of Strasma. But the swing ready to go for Allison Shaw. And just like that, 6 points on the board for Siena Heights to start. And Coach Fishman will stop to take a timeout. We'll take one as well. 8-3, it is Siena Heights with the advantage here on the Indiana Tech Digital Network.
It's really important for freshmen to realize you get out of college what you put into it. If you dedicate yourself to your classes and to your projects and to what you're doing in college, you're going to have a really great experience here.
I wish someone would have told me my freshman year that it's important to prioritize, knowing what's important, what's not important, knowing what I need to do opposed to what I want to do.
The 2 things that I think all freshmen should know is buy a parking permit so you don't rack up a bunch of fines and tickets, and also make sure you go to class because it seems like a good idea when you're skipping, but then it's not worth it in the end when you fail the test or don't turn in homework.
As an international student, my advice for the freshmen is to not be afraid to make friends because your friends here will end up being your family away from home.
Anything that you want to do, anything that you want to put on, anything that you want to showcase on campus, you can. There's always people around to help you do what you want to do here.
Make sure that you always take time for yourself to make sure that you're okay, because college can be very overwhelming as far as like schoolwork and friends and sports and just like everyday life. Always just make sure that you get what you need to get done.
8-3 advantage of Siena Heights as they start off on a quick 6-0 run here in the third. Make it 7. And this time swung down again from Eisenhower. Actually, they're going to rule that out of play. So a little dispute. It looked like it was inside the box, but our up official says no, it was out. So 8-4, good break for Tech up front. This one sails out, and another good opportunity for Tech to get back and rattle some quick points on the board. It's 8-5, advantage of Siena Heights, but Tech trying to open up the door just a little bit more here in the first. This one again, swung across. Tipped down over from Eisenhower. Now another high tip. This one coming off the hands of Snyder. Back row they go. Another push again. Block tipped and got it. And Lauren Pasca doing a great job of at least continuing to push that front line a little bit more. And able to get that down as the Elkhart, Indiana native. Contributing to the 3-0 run on the board. 8-6 the advantage. And a generous bounce for an ace. So all of a sudden what was a lead of 5 has now been trimmed to a lead of 1. And Tech trying to bust open the door here. Sailed across again from Pasca. Gets the dig. Finding Schultz. Now another tip across. Saved in the back row from the hands of Astley. Back row again for Siena Heights. High tip, gets it over to Shaw. Tip, Pasca, or I beg your pardon, Tyke scores. Back-to-back points for Hannah Tyke, and the lead now down to nothing because we're even at 8. And Indiana Tech now rattling off 5 in a row, countering the 6-point run from the hands of the Saints. And So can Indiana Tech find a way to continue the rally on their side of things? They certainly can. As J.C. Strasma gets it up on the board. Take a quick look at that again one more time. As Strasma able to connect and get it ready to roll. Block tip again up front. Back row they go for Siena Heights. Tip across over to Shaw. Shaw again, still keeping it alive. Now a high swing across Eisenhower, but blocked out of play. And so that stops the run for a moment, but not before 6 consecutive points for Indiana Tech to make it a 9-9 game. Siena Heights goes for a 6-point run. Indiana Tech goes for a 6-point run. Siena Heights stopping it here, or they look for a surge of momentum. High tip across midside. They're going to go to Pasca, blocked by two Saints. And the block down and in, however, for the Woodburn native in Lawrence Snyder. As Snyder again able to get that across rather quickly. Take a look at that again one more time. So you can see Snyder again getting the angle back up and on the board. But a push across again from Siena points. 1 point giveth, 1 point taketh away. And it's 10-10 here in the first. With Anna Bourbeau now ready to bring it across. Here's Bourbeau. Into the net. So the first net violation comes at 11-10. And only 15 minutes into the match as it stands. But Indiana Tech with the advantage by 1. They were down by as many as 5 points to start the first, but went on a quick 6-0 run to regain the lead. And it has since been kind of just a trading point situation of 1 point on, 1 point off. 1 point on, 1 point off. Another swing across, this time for the hands of Kate No. And No answering right back to make it 11-11 here in the first. Johnson swings it across. Now back in Tech territory. Who else but Snyder? As Lawrence Snyder with another big swing up front to make it 12-11. An advantage of IT. And can they find a way to get the momentum going into Tech territory? We've seen one 6-0 rally. Can they find a way to go for another? Back in same territory. Low dig saved in time. And this one out of play. It's the great dig coming in from Emmeline Wood, but the swing going just wide off the hands of number 2 in Elsie McCutcheon. So we're even again. Anna Baker's dozen across the board. Brought over again once more by Siena Heights. And a nice pivot off the reach to get it on the board. 13-12 the advantage. So we'll see again number 5, Emmeline Wood, the junior defensive specialist from right here in Fort Wayne. Sails out, and we're even at 13. So again, it feels like one of those matchups that both teams awfully competitive on paper, both with 9 losses on the season. Tech with the advantage of 2 of 3 wins above Siena Heights. But both at mid-range in the WHAC. When it comes to the standings, we'll try to break those down and get you other scores across the league coming up in just a moment. Into the net violation against Tech. And back on the board for Siena Heights. They got a little too close for comfort there. So 14-13 the advantage. And back over again for the Saints is number 12, and Maya Crone. Crone, back row she goes over to McCutcheon. McCutcheon goes down. Tyke answers the call again. As you can hear the bench chant, Hannah, Hannah, an often chant we've heard coming into tonight. 61 blocks, certainly have added one or two in this first set. And a low one back in the lower corner for Siena Heights. High swing tip off the hands of Eisenhower. Now another block tip, got it to go. And a big block coming in from number 19, and Terari Villegas. And the Saints regain the lead again once more, 15-14 here in the first. And again, continuing to try to bust the door open. Gets this one lobbed over. Sets over to Johnson, but out of play. So the swing goes wide to make it 15-15, but it has certainly been all Indiana Tech for the second half of this first set so far. Siena Heights absolutely dominating the first part, but really just kind of been back and forth for the last 5 minutes or so. Into the net that goes, back on the board for Tech. 16-15 our score. At Siena Heights again, a team that has had Indiana Tech's number for quite some time, winning 3 out of the last 5 against the Warriors. The Warriors need an ever pivotal win to rise back up in the WHAC rankings. Both teams really need a big win to rise back up in league play. Here's the swing across from Snyder. As Lawrence Snyder able to get it across and in time to make it 17-15. And a 3-0 run now upcoming for IT. Can they add more onto it? Back row they go. Swing across. Finds Eisenhower. Eisenhower. Again, high tip. Pasca still kept live. Now another chance upcoming. Tip the cross over to Shaw. Shaw again. Lurking on the opposite side. They go again to Snyder. But can't get that one to go. High swing tip over from Strasma. Free ball chance now for Siena Heights, but into the net it goes. As a Tech player ran into the net. This looks like Lauren Pasca got a little too close for comfort, unfortunately. So we're back to a 1-point affair, 17-16. Here in set number 1. Low graze across the top. And a quick swing again for Snyder back on the board. As Lawrence Snyder continuing to add to the Tech points, or Tech kills we should say, 2:13 coming into tonight's match, has already added quite a few more on the board. By the count of our stats at the moment, she's added 4 more, so 217 now officially for the Woodburn native. Commanding swing across, saved in time by number 12 in Alway. Now Siena Heights gets it across, Pasca tries to get it alive, Snyder, back again, they go. Another swing, chance, block, tipped and scores! Jacqueline Alway on the board. Let's take a look at that again one more time, as quick as we can, of course, but an all-elusive point for IT. And the previous point, or the following point, just sailed out of play. It is now a 4-point affair, as Jacqueline Alway and Lawrence Snyder finding a way to bust it open here in the first, 20-16. Here's Pasca. They set it up, free chance. Swing down into the net. And gonna be on the board for Siena Heights. And a clear bounce off the net, as you can kind of see Jacqueline Alway just kind of laughing it off just a little bit. But nonetheless, a pivotal 3-point lead late here in the first. Chance again for Wood. This one swung across. Back row they go. High left, opposite side. Low tip and in. Alway finds a way at the top of the table. And it's 21-17, an advantage of Indiana Tech. And so the Warriors now have done a great job of finding a way to bust it open and really do a good job of trying to command the front line against Siena Heights, something they had a little bit of trouble with to start the match. Alway again. Back-to-back blocks up front. 5-point game, 22-17. Here's another push. This one coming in from Pasca. Pasca again. Lobbed back. Saved by No. Tech territory, another swing. Going to be a close tip up front of the net, and it is in time. That one off the hands of Holzapfel. A near dunk attempt from Alway, not gonna go. Back again up front. Crone tries to go for it. High tip save, they gotta go back row, and they do. Free ball chance, however, upcoming for Siena Heights. They go to the hands of Shaw. A nice dig and save again once more. Here's Pasca, tip, scores! As Amelia Schultz gets it on the board. Timeout, Siena Heights. And thanks to some quick rallies, it is a 6-point game, and Indiana Tech finding a way to bust it open. Back in a minute.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there are so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
23-17, a late set surge coming for the hands of the Warriors. And an opportunity to try to close it out rather quickly. They go back in the box again for Siena Heights. Swing, tip, Schultz. Out of play. There was no touch on the swing as it sailed. Just a little bit at the back of the box. You can hear the frustration from the Tech faithfuls thinking maybe that did graze on it or not. But we will head to the replay monitor again once more. And it's going to be a challenge officially is now what it'll be rolled. So challenge upcoming on the play. So still, we're going to take it down to 23-17. So challenge is going to be called here to see if this is going to go back into the hands of Siena Heights or if Tech will take a 7-point lead. Look at a great crowd continuing to file in here at the Schaefer Center as Indiana Tech will have a bit of a stretch of home games coming up over the next couple of weeks. As the next 2 Wednesdays, we will be right here at the Schaefer Center next Wednesday night as Lords comes to town. And then on the 15th, It'll be Northwestern Ohio, and then a battle of two teams receiving votes in the top 25 on the 17th and 18th as Aquinas comes to town and Cornerstone taking on the Warriors. But they do have some all-important road matchups coming up too at Lawrence Tech, at Rochester Christian, and at Defiance. And a Defiance matchup that they lost here at the Schaefer Center 1-3 back on September 10th. They're currently 0-2 against league play at home. Actually, I beg your pardon, 1-2. They rule it as the line is inside for Schultz. As Schultz gets it quickly on the point, and it's a set point opportunity for IT. 24-17. Can Tech shut it down here? Back row they go. Swing across and pivoted off the hands of Emmeline Wood. That's number 17, Courtney Johnson, on the big swing up front to cut it back to a 6-point game. 24-18 here in the first. So an opportunity for the Saints to try to rally back here. Can they add more? Lobbed over from Johnson and an ace. As Mallory Johnson, the freshman opposite hitter, able to find a way to get to that upper front, or that middle front, we should say. And it's set point number 3 upcoming. This one dug up in time, swung across and in, and it's 3 consecutive points. This time it's Katie Morse on the front line attack to make it a 4-point game. And Siena Heights quickly on a 3-0 run. They need 6. 6 in a row, we should say. Here's Johnson. Big dig coming in from Wood. It's going to be a free ball chance of Schultz. They go back row. Another swing, double tip on the block. Snyder can't get it. Back again to the hands of No. No again. They look over to Schultz. Schultz could not get the dunk. Now another chance upcoming for No. And a free ball opportunity for Tech. This one swung down all the way. Hang on. And they got it. A quad hit called against Siena Heights. And that is how the first will come to a close. So a free ball opportunity gets Tech out of an early Siena Heights resurgent run as they lead at 25-20. They win the first. We go to the second coming up in just a moment. This is Indiana Tech Women's Volleyball on the Indiana Tech Digital Network.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
I decided if I was going to come to Indiana Tech, I was going to be a different kind of instructor. I was really going to focus on connecting with students, teaching the students the theory that they needed and also the practical applications.
Very practically what that looks like is smaller class sizes. So my class sizes are the 8 to 10 up to maybe 20. And that's backed up with we have 18 hours of office hours every week. I'm sitting in my office waiting for students to come in to talk about anything. It doesn't just have to be with the classroom.
In the College of Engineering, we have ABET accreditation for mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and biomedical engineering. ABET is the top accrediting board for engineering in the United States and probably in the world.
Another thing that is a very different approach at Indiana Tech, I think, that some other universities, is we try and make sure they have a lot of lab experience in the engineering department. All engineering programs are going to have laboratory courses, but in our laboratory courses we try to get them not just exposure to measurements and exposure to some of the devices that you'll be used, but I like to actually assign projects that are, realistic projects.
Those projects, this project-based learning, help students to work together in a group and be hands-on with the material or the product that they're creating. Engineering students at Indiana Tech to me, stand out because I know that they've had a lot of experiences working in groups, working on projects, doing lab experiments to help them understand the material, and I think that prepares them well for industry.
First thing I'll tell a high school student is study, study, study. Get all the math you can possibly get. I honestly believe that the critical thinking skills you learn in math courses will help you with engineering courses.
The type of knowledge base that students should have coming in, they need to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. Those two things are really the essence of engineering. Regardless of flavor, they're going to need to figure out, there's a problem here, how do I solve it? And they need to think critically about that. They need to observe, listen to people, and then kick in those problem-solving skills to solve the problem.
Part of the growth of
Well, it was thanks to some great rallies in the late first part of set number one as Indiana Tech able to pull away and win the first 25-20. Although Siena Heights, again, they have been known to really try to go in some sneaky rallies when you least expect it. And again, duplicating what we saw in the first, a quick point on the board for the Saints to make it 1-0. Joe Northern, Mason Vogelweed, delighted to have you with us. Taking a look at the WHAC standings right now, these two teams is an absolute must-win to stay in that top 8 field for the conference tournament, which, believe it or not, is 5 weeks away. As this one swung across, connecting back over to Schultz. Schultz again, brought down opposite side. Sails this one out of play. As Indiana Tech right now currently 3-4 in conference play, they're behind Defiance at 5-3, and Defiance has that tiebreaker right now based on the win. Even if Tech does win tonight, Defiance drops one, and both teams end up being 5-4 down the road. Defiance does have that tiebreaker unless Tech gets the extra one, which we'd have to go deeper into the tiebreaker rules at that vantage point. Meanwhile, for Siena Heights, they come in 2-5 in league play. As this one struck down and in time for Tech again once more. To make it 2-1. But again, top of the table, Aquinas, no surprise, 7-0. Cornerstone, 6-1. Lawrence Tech, 5-2. Rochester Christian and Madonna also 5-2. So a little bit of separation between the top 2 and the middle 3. As again, top 4 teams will host opening round games, but then the top seed will host the rest of the conference tournament, which right now it would look like a trip to Grand Rapids is certainly in the cards, one way or another. This one swung across. They go back over to Schultz. Schultz again. It's a duck down to find Swoosh. And brought back again by Crone. Tech again lurking on the opposite side. Schultz swings down. Nice dig in the back row from Crone. Now another high tip. Gets this one lobbed over. Saved. But a lift's going to be called against Siena Heights. So you can see kind of Jacqueline Allway kind of pivoted her foot a little bit on the opposite rotation and could not find the angle she was looking for. So it makes it 2-2 our score. Here's Crone. Gets this one lobbed across. Finds Strasma, but out of play. So 2 quick side outs for Tech to make it a 3-2 affair here in set number 2. Tech winning the first 25-20 in case you're just joining us. Crone gets it over. Another chance. Now brought back from Wood. Wood sails it up the middle. Chance again. Block tipped and still can't lie from the hands of Crone. Crone again. Another block tip and scores. A double block up front. Lawrence Snyder had the upper hand on it, but Jacqueline Alway certainly contributed to it, as it is even at 3. As we'll see Kristen Matlick, the freshman from Norwalk, Ohio, ready to bring it across. Matlick goes back row again to connect over with Krog. This one sailed out of play. So back-to-back side outs against Siena Heights, and Indiana Tech taking the points from it. Matlick again with another opportunity. Low roller to the right. Gets this one down up front. Goes again over to Snyder. They find Schultz. A reset upcoming for Siena Heights. Great dig from Wood. Now another swing tip again for Alway. As Jacqueline Alway continuing to find a way to bust open the door for Indiana Tech. Well, hang on, they might rule the point back for Siena Heights. As they roll it on a net tip, they may go for a challenge here. And they are going to challenge the point, so our second challenge point here tonight. Well, Alway currently leading the way in kills tonight, 6 for 10 with 2 errors. That's good for .400. Lawrence Snyder not too far behind, 5 for 16, no errors on the board at .312. Amelia Schultz, 3 for 7 at .429, no errors for her on the board tonight. Meanwhile, take a look at Siena Heights, who is currently leading when it comes to the attacks. It is number 5, and Devine Eisenhower, 5 for 24 this evening, but with 3 errors on top of that. And 2 additional kills from No and Villegas. Taking a look again in terms of attack errors, Siena Heights is leading in that with 10, but Indiana Tech leading in the kills category 18 to 12. And in points 23 to 16. Both teams even on service errors. Siena Heights actually with 10 attack errors this evening. But the block errors and reception errors have come back to haunt the Warriors just a little bit here tonight. 1 and 3 respectively. Siena Heights with 0 and 1. So Tech has certainly had the upper advantage in this matchup as it stands so far. But again, the reception errors, you go back and take a look at that and see how does that change things up a little bit more for our strategy with Siena Heights. Again, the winner in this one will get a little bit closer to 7th place. But again, with the top 4, kind of a juggernaut right now again. You have to wait and see how things are going to continue to shape up. And keep in mind, still plenty of conference games left to go. In fact, the rest of the schedule is nothing but conference games. And the point's going to stay for IT. So not enough evidence to overrule it on the challenge to make it 5 to 3 in advantage of the Warriors. Again, last 5 matches, it's been, again, 3 to 2 in advantage of Siena Heights, but the Warriors got the win in 5 in Grand Rapids back in November in the WHAC semis. This one sails out of play and back on the board for Tech again. So a quick sail across and out of the box, or a pivot out of the box, we should say, from Siena Heights. So an ace getting back on the board. This one, however, will be a side out against Indiana Tech, and the lead trimmed down to 2. 6-4 the advantage of the Warriors. Again, in case you're just joining us, Indiana Tech took set number 1, 25 to 20. But the game started on, interestingly enough, 2 6-0 rallies across the board. 2 6-0 rally, 1 6-0 rally from Siena Heights to start it. Indiana Tech quickly to answer back on the opposite side. And another side out going to go against the Warriors to make it 6 to 5. So we'll see Courtney Johnson ready to bring it over. The freshman setter from Concord Township in Ohio. Swing across from Alway, and she finds her 7th. Holloway finds a way to get it on the board, and her 7th kill of the night thus far. As Elsie McCutcheon returning to the back of the line. McCutcheon gets it back to the Saints. Here's Johnson. High tip swung on Eisenhower. They say play on. Chance again upcoming. Pivoted off the hands and in. As Lauren Pasca, the Noblesville native, able to find a way to pivot it off the back row to make it 8-5 in advantage of IT. McCutcheon continuing a low serve down to the back row. They go to Eisenhower for the tip it in. So Eisenhower, who has led the team in kills, leading the team in kills tonight. That is her 6th, I believe. Yep, that's her 6th. To make it 8-6. Tech with the advantage, but certainly need to find a way to blow the door open quickly if they want to make a statement. Nearly bobbled in the hands of Woods. Going to set up for a free ball chance, but will let that sail out instead. Off the hands in the air from number 9 in Lillian Ferris. And it's a 3-point lead, an advantage for IT. And Emmeline Wood now ready to bring it across. Wood, back row she goes to connect with Holzapfel. Now another swing, this one down and in. This one coming off the hands of Allison Shaw, the Adrian, Michigan native, the hometown middle blocker for Siena Heights. Another push across coming in from Bourbeau. They say back again for Pasca. Pasca able to contribute to the discombobulation on the opposite side. And the lead back to 3, 10-7. At advantage of IT. As we see number 15, Isabella Osley ready to bring it over, the redshirt sophomore from Columbia, South Carolina. Osley gets it back row, connects it over to No. Now another high swing tip connects over to Shaw. Shaw again gets this one lobbed over. They go to Pasca. Push in the back, off the tip and in. With a great swing across again from Kate No to get it back on the board. And a 2-point game, 10-8. So again, it's been really the tale of trading points here in the second, but Tech with a slight advantage as they lead it by 2. In fact, their largest leads of the match didn't come until late in the match, and they had a 24-17 lead at one point. Swing block tip on the board. As Katie No again attacking the front line and forcing 2 Indiana Tech blockers to, on the miscue, to pivot it out of play. Opportunity for the Saints to even it up. Chance again for Johnson. Back row swing across. This one blocked, tipped down, and got it. As Lauren Pasca able to answer the call. And that'll stop the Siena Heights run for just a moment. As we'll see number 16, Cassie Bonner, ready to bring it over. Bonner gets it over to Crone. Now another high swing out of play. That one off the hands of Katie Morse. And the senior from Lafayette continuing the rally. 3-point game, advantage of IT. They've won the first. Tip again up front. They connect over to Schultz. Schultz. And a commanding dig from the hands of Crone. They get another block tip. Little miscue again between 2 of the centers. And a dunk in time for Tyke. As Hannah Tyke able to dunk it up front rather quickly to make it a 4-point game, 13-9 in advantage of IT. They go mid-row on the swing. This one sailed out of play. So the placement coming in from Cassidy Painter has certainly made the difference. And it is going to make Coach Corey Ness stop to think it over. 14-9, Tech with the lead. Back in a moment.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there are so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
14-9 advantage of IT. As they've been able to go on a little bit of a mid-set surge, but have done great jobs in the blocks up front. However, region going to go against number 17 and JC Strasma to at least stop that run for a moment. 14-10, the advantage. Well, don't forget, coming up later this week on the Indiana Tech Digital Network, we've got a big hockey doubleheader for you. We'll tell you about that coming up in just a moment as this one swung across. They get the tip down from the hands of Schultz. Schultz again, swung on opposite side. They get it back over to Johnson. Now another big block tip up front. They gotta go for the reset, and they do. Chance again, high swing, scores! Lauren Pasca again answering the call with a commanding swing in the mid-row. It's Hannah Tyke, I beg your pardon, getting the point on that one, not Pasca. But Tyke again continuing to command, gets a generous bounce. Have another chance for Siena Heights. Double block tip, Tyke trying to get a hand on it, couldn't get it. Now Schultz gets it across, finds Allway. Now swung on, double block. And going to be set up for a free chance upcoming. As that have to be pivoted out from Strasma. Tip. Now another chance. Tipped again for Allway. 5-point game. This one swung across from Villegas. They're going to set it up for Schultz again once more. Strasma tips again, back row to Siena Heights. The rally certainly continuing, goes out of play. And the big swing from the leader in Divine Eisenhower makes it 15-11. Certainly one of the longer rallies we've seen here tonight, but goes back on the board for Siena Heights as they trail by 4 here in the second. This one swung up, connected back over to Schultz and got it. Or off Snyder, we should say, and got it. As Sarai Villegas answers the call on the opposite side. And a 3-point game, 15-12 here in the second. And Siena Heights would definitely prefer to be in 1-1 territory versus Tech being at 2-0. But can Tech find a way to shut it down? Here's Snyder. Snyder goes to the light tip. Brought back over to Eisenhower. Dug up again by Wood. They go for Allway in on the board. As Jacqueline Allway answers the call and gets the swing across to make it a 4-point affair, 16-12. Late here in set number 2. Chance again upcoming, swung on, but ends in the net. Lauren Snyder able to get on the reach, but It is Siena Heights that's going to get credit for the error on their opposite side. And the lead extended back to 5. 17-12 late here in the second. And Tech again trying to continue to push forward and leave no doubt if possible. Alway could not get it over in time, tripped up a little bit, so did Schultz. So they'll give it another reset, 17-13. So a 4-point game, an advantage of Tech. They've really seemed to hold the advantage against Siena Heights, trying to stop any runs of momentum, but will really need to find a way to extend it. As again, they've had some frontline blocks that have not gone their way, but when you find a way, it is Alway who answers the big swings in time and has done so here tonight. In fact, for Alway, we take a look at the stats officially. That is kill number 9 for her this evening. So Alway with her 9th. This one swung across from McCutcheon. Back up front, double block. Alway and Pasca had a hand on it. Pasca outside the box, resets it up the middle. Now another chance for Eisenhower. Short tip. They got to set it up for Schultz, and they do. Schultz again goes mid-row. They go for the sneak lift over to Wood. Now another chance. Alway block, tipped, and got it. And a commanding block up front for number 9 in Lillian Ferris. She was able to read the positioning of where Alway was going to go to make it a 4-point game, 18-14. Chance again for Eisenhower. Pasca shuts it down immediately. As the Lauren Pasca again gets another commanding swing up front. That's her 3rd of the night in terms of kills. Currently 3 for 12, 2 errors on the board for her. The lead back to 5, an advantage of IT, 19-14 here in the second. Emmeline Wood sails it inside and gets the bounce off the line to make it a 6-point game. As the junior defensive specialist with good placement, she's going to try to go for that again. Instead goes back row, finds Crone. Double block tip off the tweeter on the board for Siena Heights. So it makes it again back to a 5-point game. Tech again has really done a good job of just holding their own and shutting down any form of momentum. But we haven't seen too many side outs or attacking errors here in the second set comparatively to the first. And again, you see those first set jitters from time to time. Lift over from Pasca, no net, they say play on. Now another tip up front, this time got it. As it was number 18, Katie Morse, on the swing and forced at least a minor game of pinball up front with Tyke and Matlick trying to get it over. Pasca got it. Lauren Pasca able to cut it across and in time to make it a 5-point game, 21-16. And here's number 15 now coming in, and Isabella Osley. So can Osley find an opportunity to skate this one across? Back row again they go. Swung on tip, still kept live. Now another chance again for Holzapfel. Not going to matter. A quad hit going to go against Siena Heights. And the lead extended to 6. 22-16 here in the second. Saints 1 timeout remaining. Tech still got both. And an ace. This time off the hands of Osley again once more. And the lead continuing to mount as Tech with their largest lead of the night, 23-16. Osley sails it over to Crone. Now another swing, gets this off the hands of Wood and on the board. As the big swing from Allison Shaw gets it back in time to make it a 6-point a game. but a chance to reset, but they will have to hurry. Six-point game, 2 left for Tech. As Mallory Johnson ringing it across. Johnson, a little bit of a battle in front. Again, kind of one of those serves that objects may be closer than they appear in the depth perception. You may not be sure who's got the advantage, but it was Siena Heights in that one to make it now a 5-point game, 23-18. Advantage upcoming once more for Johnson. Johnson, back row again, she goes. Gets it across over to Tyke. Tyke again, still keeping it alive. Over to Johnson. Sails back over to Wood. Wood again. Gets it tipped over. Strausma scores. As JC Strausma gets the point, and it's a game point opportunity. As Cassidy Boner ready to bring it across. She started the rally midway through the second. Can she finish this one here? She won't, as it goes out of play. 24-19 in advantage of IT. So see Ella Swash. Ella Swash ready to bring it across, the North Branch, Michigan native. Tech faithful on their feet. Gets it over to Wood. High lift. Chance. Strausma scores. As Lauren Strausma able to find a way to shut it down. And Indiana Tech goes up 2-0 as we head to the third. Tech trying to go for a sweep. Siena Heights trying to fight for a fourth. Back in a moment. This is Indiana Tech Women's Volleyball on the Indiana Tech Digital Network.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior. Want to know what it means to be a warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a warrior's shoes.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a warrior. Go Warriors.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior.
2-0 Tech as we go to the third. They won the first 25-20 and then 25-19 in set number 3. Joe Northern, Mason Vogelweed, delighted to have you with us again. Indiana Tech coming off a 2-1 weekend where they got wins over UM Dearborn and Puerto Rico San Pedro's, but fell to Madonna, putting them at 7th right now in the WHAC. Siena Heights also in 7th right now. Indiana Tech has a game advantage on it, so to create a little more separation, a win here tonight would certainly help that, and would be a game and a half out from Defiance. Well, let's just say 2 games from Defiance, since currently they do have the tiebreaker over Tech. Swash now ready to bring it across, as the Warriors again looking to try to get back top of the table, or at least fight their way to get to the top of the table. So we get caught up on some of the other scores as the evening progresses. Here's a swing across, and again in time for number 8 in Divine Eisenhower. Interestingly enough, it has been Siena Heights who have scored the first points in each game here tonight, but it's been Indiana Tech that's found a way to battle back and say not today. Could they do it here in a third and go for a sweep? Into the net and off the tweeter. They get a 1-1. So again, busy night in league play as it stands. Madonna currently leading 2-0 over Defiance, 12-4. As Madonna leading in the third in that one. That's a point on the board for Siena Heights. 1-1 the score. They're just getting underway in the third between Cornerstone and Lawrence Tech. Aquinas certainly rolling right now to try to keep at the top of the table. They lead over Rochester Christian 2-0. Winning their games 25-15, 25-14, I beg your pardon, 25-19, and now lead it 14-6. And Lords and UM Dearborn, this one went late in points, 31-29 in advantage of the Grey Wolves, and have since won the second, 25-12, but UM Dearborn leading 12-10 in the third. So could be a battle of UM Dearborn saying, hey, hang on a second, we've still got some momentum left in us. Here's another swing across coming from the hands of Schultz. Schultz again, block tipped and got it. As Hannah Tyke again commanding the front line with the blocks to make it 2-2. As this Balashwe again ready to bring it across. Oshwe goes back row. Connects over to Swoosh. Now another swing tip back in Tech territory. They go again to Snyder, or Pasco, beg your pardon. Chance again. Tyke, back row. Gets it dug up from Crone. Crone now on another tip, still saved alive. They gotta go, and they do. As Osley gets it across, and a nice save from Wood. Battle. Tip, who's got it into the net? Who is into the net? It's on the board for Siena Heights, as they're going to say Hannah Tyke ran into the net. But a little bit of a discussion going on right now at midcourt. Let's go ahead and try to listen in. It will stay with Siena Heights. It's Coach Matt Fishman coming out to check on Hannah Tyke. She's all right to make it 3-2. Here's Courtney Johnson now ready to bring it across. Johnson sets this one down and over. Chance again for Pasca, off the hand and on the board. As well as Swoosh had it pivoted off the hands of Pasca on the serve. And so the lead no longer exists. But it's been a set again where whoever can find the late surge of momentum will certainly find a way to finish the match. And Indiana Tech has done that in the last 2 sets. But Siena Heights trying to extend it as Katie Moore is able to get the big swing across to make it 4-3 late here in set number 3. Chance again up front as Hannah Tyke able to bring it down and inside off the tip. 1 point giveth, 1 point taketh away, and 1 point tiketh away, we should say. As Hannah Tyke now 8 kills of the night thus far, 2 blocks assisted for the junior from Elkhart. Side out going to go against IT, so Siena Heights will get the extra point. And now trying to go for the insurance point here. Take a look at least stats coming into this point as it stands right now. Tech still leading 34 kills, but 11 attack errors. Siena Heights with 13 at the moment. Siena Heights leading in total attacks, interestingly enough, 103-94. And another net error going to go against the Warriors. This time on number 5, Emmeline Wood. As they give the attack error against Jacqueline Alway to make it a 2-point game. Here's Wood now. Gets this across, tipped. Chance again for Siena Heights, but they will let that sail out of play. As Katie No could not find the angle. Or Kate No, I beg your pardon, could not find the angle. Tech 4 aces on the board. Siena Heights with 3, but also 4 service errors. And 10 blocks assisted on the board, but 3 reception errors. Siena Heights picking up 4 as it stands right now. 1 point game here in the third. Tech leading the match 2-0. And the dunk tip in time for the Woodburn native and Lauren Snyder. Actually, I beg your pardon, it's going to be number 14. And Amelia Schultz getting the dunk tip in time. Another push across. This one dug up. Schultz got it. And was able to find a way to kind of sneak it up the middle right in front of number 9 in Lillian Ferris. And so IT back at the advantage. They're on a 3-0 run here in the third. Can they keep it going? They won't on that one as it sails wide. And we're even at 7 again once more. Coming in now, we've got number 2 for Siena Heights. Mallory Johnson again back to serve. And you take a look at some of the leaders for Siena Heights in scoring. Johnson only 4 digs tonight, but 7 assists behind Courtney Johnson with 17. Schultz goes all the way to the back. This one still kept going. Another block tip and got it for Jacqueline Alway. As Jacqueline Alway, the Kankakee, Illinois native, continuing to line up the boards here tonight for IT. That's kill number 10 tonight. Actually, they're going to give that a block for her, we should say. Her 4th block assisted. So still with 9 kills, but nonetheless 8-7. Advantage of IT. Now another chance upcoming. Block tip from Alway. Still kept live. Now another swing tip and got it. It got off the hands of Schultz and could not get it back to the back row for a reset. Make it now 8-8 here in the third. Ellis Swash now ready to bring it across. So Swash again continue trying to get Siena Heights back up front. They've held early set advantages, but did not find a way to get the job done late. That one off the antenna. To make it 9-8. And what has been certainly back and forth for the early parts of the sets, but Tech has found a way to really push forward in late set situations. Can they do so here late here in the third and try to go for a sweep and end any doubt? Light tip up front from Villegas. Not a light tip from Indiana Tech and Pasca. And a block up front this time. Pasca and Schultz get a hand on it. As Pasca and Schultz able to get the block. Or Hannah Tyke getting the block up front. So Tyke and Schultz able to find a way to get it inside. Now another chance upcoming for IT. They go to Pasca. And into the net it goes for Siena Heights. So they find the end of that call. And the Warriors up 3 here in the third. Trying to find a way to shut the door, get back to 500 in league play, 11-9 on the season. Dunk tip scores. As Lauren Pasca answers the tip on that one. And the lead extended to 4. No teams taking any timeouts as of yet. Swing across to Eisenhower. Dug up by Wood. Going to be a frontline battle. Schultz scores! Amelia Schultz again commanding the front line all on her own. And the lead extended to 5, 13-8 here in set number 3. Here's Wood again. Wood lobs it over. Another chance upcoming for Eisenhower. Block tip it in. As Schultz goes back to back to back. And that'll make Siena Heights stop to think it over. We'll step aside. Siena Heights takes the timeout. Indiana Tech 14-8 as the Warriors try to go on the home stretch. Back in a moment.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Our score. Tech leading over Siena Heights. As they won the first two 25-8, 25-19, 25-20. And have done a good job of just continuing to try to pull away from the Siena Heights attack and really do a great job of really commanding the front line and forcing some of the longer swings to throw off the back row for Siena Heights. Here's Wood on the reception. Tyke brings it back to the back row. Now another chance. This one over to Eisenhower. Tip still kept live. They go to Schultz. Swing, scores. That is 4 in a row for Amelia Schultz. And it's a 7-point game in advantage of IT. And Schultz now 7 kills of the night thus far. And has certainly made a difference late here, but this one going to go into the net for Wood, so that'll stop the rally for the moment. But nonetheless, Indiana Tech with a 6-point game, 15-9, just a little over midway through the third, and trying to go for what would be their first conference home sweep. And first conference sweep overall, second conference sweep in a week, as they did get the win over Dearborn 3-0. As this one brought down in time again for Schultz. But also, too, again, conference standings, still a very deep WHAC league play to go. You got a month and a half of league play since everybody plays each other's twice for the most part. and the opportunity to continue to push forward certainly cannot be understated. So, again, if you're Tech, you get some of those midseason wins, continue to run it up as much as you can. Find yourself back in a top 4 position is certainly where you want to be. Of course, have to wait and see what happens with Aquinas, see what happens with Cornerstone and the other teams in the log jam, but nonetheless, this is a Tech team that certainly wants to make a deep run and have the ability to do so. As it's 17-9 off the tip on the score as they go for the rare rotation of saying, no, we don't want this one, we want this ball. Osley gets this one across. Commanding swing into the net. Do they rule it? For Tech, they do. No tip. As Coach Corey Ness is saying, hang on, she was in the net, hang on, there was a tip. I don't know if there's going to be a challenge on this or not, but it's a 9-point game. But would certainly change the tide to make it a 17-10 game versus 18-9. And they do rule it as a tip after all. So they're going to challenge the tip. So they'll take the point off the board, 17-9. So while they're doing that, I want to let you know of other action coming up here on the Indiana Tech Digital Network later this week, as it will be a hockey doubleheader for you, as Grand Valley State will take on Indiana Tech for women's hockey. That'll be a 4:30 start time, and then Davenport will take on Indiana Tech on the men's side, a 7:30. The Wizard of Haas, Eric Hosmer, Caden Linder will join you for that one coming up on Friday, beginning at 4:30, right here on the Indiana Tech Digital Network. And then we will rejoin you right here on Wednesday with another doubleheader of women's soccer in the afternoon, women's volleyball at night, as Defiance will take on Indiana Tech. That's a 2 p.m. start time, or I should say 1 p.m. start time. And Lords takes on Indiana Tech for women's volleyball. That is a point on the board for Siena Heights. They did see a tip come after all on the board to make it now 17-10. So a quick break for Siena Heights to get the point back in time to make it 17-10. And speaking of 17, here is number 17, Courtney Johnson, ready to bring it across. Johnson goes back row to Wood. Another swing tip, this one down and in. Off the hands of Lauren Pasca. And the lead extended back to 8. 18-10 here in the third. Cassidy Bonner again ready to bring it over. She was part of a mid-set surge in the second that really tried to make things out of play for IT. Can they continue to keep it going? This one goes back over to Alway. Sits over to Boner. Now another swing tip over to Strasma. And a free ball chance again once more for IT. Snyder couldn't get it. Tip scores. This one in the hands of Katie Morse. The lead back down to 7, 18-11 here in the third. But nonetheless, the Warriors had their largest lead of the night at 8 points at 1 point here in the match, trying to keep it going. This one pivoted in and out of the hands and couldn't find the right palm on it. So a 6-point game, 18-12. And a side out going to go against Siena Heights in the meantime. This one swung out of play from Lillian Ferris. And the lead back to 7. And a Tyke now ready to bring it across. Tyke on the evening. 8 kills on 15 total attacks. 4 blocks assisted, 1 block error. 1 service error, but 2 digs on the evening. 10 points for her so far tonight. Certainly with commanding effort. Jacqueline Alway continuing to do a great job this evening as well with 9 kills on 17 total attacks. And 3 attack errors, however, on the board, we should say. That's good for .353. Tike coming in at .533. But 11 points on the board tonight for Alway. A nice tip down and in once more from Katie Morse. So Morse again trying to get her Saints back into this match. Morse on the evening, 6 kills as it stands, 6 for 20 and 6 points tonight. Eisenhower currently leading in kills at 8, but 7 errors on 42 total attacks. Swung across from Burbeau. High tip coming in from Strasma. And out of play thanks to Strasma. So 19-14, Tech not out of the woods as of yet, but certainly trying to get closer to shutting the door down and getting their second sweep in a week. Lock tip again. Chance upcoming and got it. Kira Hans getting the score points for the first time tonight, as Hans answers it once more to make it 20-14. So Hans getting her first point tonight. We'll see who Matt Fishman will work into the rotation, but again, a 6-point game. An advantage of the Warriors, so they're trying to finish it out in 3. That one's going to go into the net off the hands of number 10 and Kristen Matlick. So Siena Heights will get another opportunity on their side. Well, again, as a reminder, we will join you coming up on next Wednesday night as Indiana Tech will take on Lourdes. Lourdes still seeking for their first conference win of the season. They're taking on Dearborn, also looking for their first conference win of the season. Last we checked, Lourdes was up 2-0 in that matchup. That'll be your game coming up next Wednesday night, right here from the Schaefer Center. Lock tip off the net, quad hit going to be called against IT, and the lead back down to 4. So the Saints, a little extra fighting them here in this one in the third. Can they find a way to rally back and force the fourth? 2 finals we can't officially report. Madonna sweeps over Defiance 3-0, and Aquinas sweeping over Rochester 3-0 as well. Here's a swing tip, and got it. As they rule a reach into the net on the hands of number 9 for Siena Heights and Lillian Ferris. So a quick point on the board. Tech also trying to be the 3rd sweep on the board here tonight. The other 2 games are at least going to a 4th. 2 other matches, I should say, at least going to a 4th. Block tip back row, still kept live. They go again to No. No sails it inside. And No found the angle to get it back on the board. And again, a 4-point affair, 21-17. Ella Swash now ready to bring it across. So Siena Heights finding a little bit of new life here in the third. Here's Swash. Gets this across. Finding Wood. Tip down and got it. Jacqueline Alway again does it again. And a 5-point game. But for Alway now getting 12 points on the board. Officially according to our statistics. Another swing across. This one, double tip up front. Tike got a hand on it. Now they got to go to Schultz, and they do. Schultz inside and in. Amelia Schultz answering it right back in to make it 23-17. And Tech trying to get ever so closer of finishing this in a commanding sweep, which could set up for good positioning in the month of October. Dunk tip it in from Tike. And it's a match point opportunity for IT. And so Tech with another opportunity to close it out. They haven't done it on the 1 point alone. Can Wood find a way to do it here? Here's the swing across. It goes over to Eisenhower. Free tip, can't get it, as it was going to bobbled off the hands of Hannah Tyke. Maya Crone now to bring it across. Crone goes back row. They go to Schultz. Down, still live. Head up by Wood. Pasca sails, and that's how it ends. Wait, no, they don't. They rule it off the tweeter. It is off the tweeter. They're going to have to challenge it. No, there won't be a challenge. It is off the tweeter. It was a hand miss signal. Set point number 3 upcoming. Match point number 3 upcoming. Schultz, this time, ends it. And the quick side out finishes it. And now Indiana Tech can relax as they win the match 3-0. Your final 25-20, 25-19, 25-19 again once more. Really tough to give your player of the game to two multiple players that really keep in mind, so we're going to make co-players of the game. Jacqueline Alway, 10 kills on 18 total attacks. Amelia Schultz, 10 for 21 tonight. And both contributing in the block assist department, 4 for Alway, 5 for Schultz here tonight. So Indiana Tech will improve to 11-9, 4-4 in WHAC play. Siena Heights falls to 7-10, falls to 2-6, still in 8th in league play. Well, that'll do it for us. We will see you next Wednesday night for volleyball here on the Indiana Tech Digital Network as the Gray Wolves of Lords will come to town to take on the Warriors. Before that, hockey doubleheader for you coming up on Friday evening, so you don't want to miss that. For all of us here at the Indiana Tech Digital Network, Joe Northern alongside Mason Vogel, we say good evening to you, and we will see you next Wednesday. So long, everybody.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior. Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything.